Alright everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to The King's Speech. So just finished recording the Shonen Jump videos for this week. So we got new videos for Spy Family, Kaiju, and Akane Banashi. So we're going to dive into the next volume of Bride's Story here in just a second. Before we do that, as always, I want to remind you all, if you do like this content, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Like I mentioned before, it really does help me out a lot because, when I see that people are engaging with the videos, it really does motivate me to keep making more of them. And YouTube's algorithm also really likes it when you push those buttons because it lets it know that, hey, these videos are good, I want to see more like them, and it also helps promote them to a wider audience. So if you'd like to help me out with that, that would be greatly appreciated. But without further ado, let us get into it with Bride Story Volume 3 by Kaoru Mori. And we have, wondering if I should do the little zoom feels, like a little thicker other ones. Nah. But yeah, I feel like I should always read like the little blurbs at the beginning, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, we got Chapter 12 with Sojourn. As you have Ankara, of course we go there. So, how many porters will you need? It's like, no. What do you mean, no? You're saying you don't need any help? Hey, where are you going? You see this camel herder merchant, I guess, talking to someone as he walks off. Jeff, hello, welcome. He's like, oh, I see. He's like, I'm so glad I found a buyer. Makes coming all the way from Ankara worthwhile. I think you'll find it's of the highest quality. He's like, no? It's like, just a moment. And I think he brings out like a little incense pot to show him. Is this supposed to be Smith? Yeah, you see Smith just walking through this village, just all these hawkers and merchants trying to sell him stuff. And it's like, no, that isn't what I'm here for. I'm merely searching for my guide. My friend arranged a guide for me and we were to meet here. He's meant to go with me to Ankara. And you have, what's going on? It's like, I hear this man is searching for somebody. He's like, oh, then I know what it's about. You have, hey, Gramps, over here. And you have as you see this old guy coming up. He's like, the one I'm looking for is my granddaughter. She's 15 years old. And Smith is like, I must decline any more help. I'll be fine. I can search on my own. And as he's looking at his notes, now this is troubling. Jeff, Grandpa! He's like, oh! It's like, perhaps he hasn't arrived here yet. It's like, in any case, I'll collect my horse and bags and... Oh, God. He goes to the tree where he tied him up and there's nothing there. He's like, my horse, my bags. He's like, He's like, where did they... He's like, do you know anything about the horse and donkey that were tied up here? He's like, horse and donkey? What kind? It's like, it can't be. It's like, you shouldn't have taken your eyes off them. He's like, it can't be. It's like, what? What? It's like, no, it can't be. And you see this woman just rushing through the crowd, frantically looking for something or someone. And she goes, excuse me, have you seen the white horse that was tethered here? And he's like, you too? Actually, my things have disappeared from here as well. It's like, I hope it wasn't a crime of opportunity. And she's like, opportunity? He's like, I'm thinking they were stolen, perhaps? He's like, what will we do? He's like, It's like, at any rate, shall we try searching over that way? It's possible that someone simply moved them. And you see them trying to search through the crowd in the market. And he's like, when did you tie it here? And she's like, I came to shop, but it isn't as though I left him for very long. And he's like, I imagine you didn't. He's like, that coat I borrowed. It's like, well, drat. The very least I hadn't wanted to lose that. And she's like, me too. That horse is precious to me. And you see them talking to one of the merchant who goes, why don't you consult the market chief? He's like, market chief? See, all the way in the back, that building there? He's like, yes. And as they're walking through, he's like, I was supposed to meet a guide here. A friend made the arrangements. And the mysterious woman's like, where is he? It's like, I haven't been able to find him yet. It seems to arrive more quickly than my guide. It's like, even if I was to wait here, everything I possess was loaded onto that horse. And you see the market chief is like this gruff-looking guy. And he's like, and so I suspect they were stolen. I don't suppose you can do anything to help? And he just motions some people over. And you see them just, so someone did make off with them, and you see that they beat up the thief, and you have both the horses nearby. And it's like, Trubar. It's like, thank you so much. Or rather, how can I ever repay you? And he's like, I will brook no theft in my market. We'll punish the criminals accordingly. Take your things and go. And one of the, I assume, guards is like, is it all there? And Smith is like, yes, probably. And you see the mysterious woman just hugging the horse going, thank goodness. Chubar, thank goodness. I say, how was it a complete loss? I'm so glad we've gotten them back. Now if you'll pardon me. And she's like, excuse me. If you haven't any objections, you're welcome to stay with us while you wait. My mother-in-law would be so happy to have a guest. That is, if you haven't decided on a place to stay yet. And you see them just heading back to her house. And she's like, Mother. It's like, please come in. Make yourself comfortable. And the mother was like, it's been so long since we've had a guest. It's like, long ago, her home was such a lively place. And you see outside it looks kind of deserted. There's no one else around. And Smith is like, so it's just the two of you? And she's like, yes, everyone else has passed away. It's just me, my daughter, and the horse. And he's like, she really cares for the horse, doesn't she? It's like, it's a memento of my sons. She was married to them all. And he's like, all of them? He's like, yes, she married the eldest first, but... You see Smith as he's like handing the cup of tea, puts it down, grabs out a notebook, and he's like, please, tell me everything. Jeff, so this is how the story went. They were originally a household that included her husband and 5 sons. Talas came as a bride to the eldest son when she was 16. It was a rather extravagant wedding. Both clans were invited, as were most of the neighbors. 40 goats and 10 mares were given as gifts. That horse was one of the father's gifts to the couple. It was the white horse that had been valued the most. However, only a few years had passed when the eldest son took ill and died suddenly. Death had separated husband and wife before any children could be born, so it was decided she would marry her husband's brother. The second son was quiet but very attentive. He inherited everything, including his brother's horse. Anyone could see that she loved her second husband even more than her first. But then he too went on a journey to sell wool, and on a mountain road a landslide sent him to his death along with all he carried. Then she married the third son. It seems that they didn't get along very well. With the death of the third, she married the fourth, and then the fifth. He was the 5th and youngest son, but he fell to the same illness as the first. And you see her just like kind of weeping over them. And you have her husband, having watched each of his son and heirs die, fell into a deep depression and withered. And just like that, he passed on, almost as if he had simply vanished. And the mother's like, she's still so young. So I told her she should go back to her birth relatives and have them find her a new husband. But you see, she won't hear of it. It is my fate to be alone in the end. I guess that is the will of God. But I would rather such a fate not fall on that child. I hope there's still someone out there for her. And Smith is like, she asks, do you have a wife? He's like, who, me? He's like, no, not as yet. He's like, eh? And you see, was it Talas? Yeah, coming in, and she's like, I finished. He's like, thank you. He's like, where'd you put our guest's luggage? You see the grandmother just kind of like slyly looking over at him as they're conversing. And you have chapter 13. And you see the next morning she comes in with a plate of bread and some fruits, and I assume some tea. And she sets up some breakfast for him. And he's like, thank you. You have chapter 13, entreaty. And you see outside as the grandmother's milking the goat, or the sheep. Yeah, good morning. Did you sleep well? He's like, yes, thanks to you. He's like, do you have enough tea? I can easily bring some more. He's like, no, this is plenty. He's like, is that so? Please don't refuse out of courtesy. If you'd like water over in that direction. And you see later as he's packing up all his stuff, Talas is like, oh, are you going somewhere? He's like, well, I was thinking it's about time I move on. Thank you for your hospitality. And she's like, but you've only just arrived. Have you found the person you were looking for? And he's silent and he's like, I can't say that I have, but staying on with 2 lone women for any length of time won't do anyone any good, I don't think. And she's silent. She's like, did Mother say anything about me? He's like, well, yes, actually, a little. And she sits down next to him and is like, even so, I don't suppose I can convince you to stay just a little bit longer? And he's like, huh? And she's like, my mother was truly overjoyed when she saw that you'd come to visit Mr. Smith. Simply providing for a guest has lifted her spirits. She doesn't smile as she used to. It's been so long since I've seen her enjoying herself this much. She's had so much tragedy and sadness in her life. And it's like, no matter what she said about me, please don't concern yourself over it. Mother knows the true situation deep down. Just until you find the man you're looking for, please stay here. I beg of you. And you see him just kind of like, his hands like tightening on his stuff as he's contemplating. He goes, all right, I will, but only until I find him. And the mother's like, again? You're going to town again today? Like, Tallis will go with you. And he's like, no, I doubt he'll arrive anytime soon, so I see little point in going to town every day. I was hoping you could show me what daily chores you do here. He's like, of course, no problem at all. He's like, Tallis. He's like, yes? He's like, Mr. Smith here would like to see the chores we do. This is such a rare opportunity, so let's break out the rice. And he's like, And he's like, And she's like, what were you interested in seeing? And he's like, huh? Well, you see, it's not that I had anything in mind. If you'd simply do what you normally do. He's like, of course. He's like, I apologize for. He's like, not at all. And you see them like herding the sheep as they're going out to graze. And you have to nomad herders. Well, it's not just confined to them, but the women of this region all seem to work very hard. Jeff, so we're here. It's like, we've walked quite a distance. It's like, do you think so? And it's like, where to? It's like, we're heading back. He's like, and with the sheep? It's like, they'll be fine. They won't go anywhere. He's like, is that so? Then Smith is like, I wish I'd ridden my horse here. It's like, of course they tend their flocks. They spin thread and weave. And you see them just like weaving out a rug, I assume. And you have an embroider. It's like they sell it for extra money to live on. And in their free moments, they prepare food that will keep for a long time and many other tasks. So you're going and like hauling water in and out. You have even so, the reason life here seems so hard is that the land itself requires that much work for a person to survive. And you see you're smashing up some wheat or some grain of some kind. And as he's watching, he's like, seems like hard work. He just kind of smiles and goes back to doing the work. So before there were so many that you couldn't see that horizon, but we sold them. We couldn't take care of them by ourselves, and hiring helpers is more trouble than it's worth. That's why we have the money for our present needs. Later that night, they've got a little lavish feast for him, and have, now eat up as much as you like, no holding back. If it isn't enough, just say so. There's plenty more. And he goes, so, what happens when present needs become future needs, I wonder? And you see that night as he's laying awake, he goes, a temporary guest doesn't have the right to ask. And you see the next day as he's coming back from town, I assume he sees another horse tied up outside. And as he goes inside, he sees the mother arguing with this scruffy-looking bald guy who like stares at him suspiciously and slams the door in Smith's face. So Smith goes outside and starts like doodling in his journal. And as the guy is leaving, he goes, she's still a perfect age, but you're not going to find another suitor for her hand? Do you two intend to die alone out here? Well, when you regret it later, don't come crying to me. He kind of just glares at Smith and goes, what? What are you looking at? And he's like, huh? Nothing. It's like, and as the mother comes out, it's like, yes, there was something I forgot to mention. It seems this young man is taking quite a liking to Tallis, and Tallis has already given her consent to become this man's wife. The old guy's like, what? Impossible! This outsider from who knows where? And so it's like, wait just a moment. He's like, did he pay you tons of money? He's like, no, I never said anything like that, not even a syllable. He's like, I told you, money doesn't enter into it. I just want Tallis to be happy, and this young man will take good care of her. And he's like, wait a... It's like, don't give me that crap. It's like, you may go home now. It's like, hold on. It's like, you're a waste of my breath. It's like, I'd like to say... It's like, leave now. And you see the guy just riding off in a huff. And Smith's like, excuse me, but what was this talk of? And she goes, he's demanding Tallis as a second wife for his son. He just wants to save some betrothal money since he thinks there's a bride he can have for free so close at hand. She'd be wife in name only. Once there, they treat her like a slave, I'm sure. And she's like, I want to give Tallis to you. Won't you please take her? I'm sure you were brought to our house for a reason. And you see as Tallis is sitting out in the field, like herding the sheep. She takes off her little headscarf and she's just got this gorgeous flowing long hair. And she's kind of standing up and like just like the wind waft over her face. And you have, no, she isn't anybody's property. You cannot give her, nor can I take her. I mean, the whole proposition is impossible. I'll be leaving soon and... It's like, that doesn't bother me. You can take Talis with you. I know I'm biased, but she's an excellent girl. She can do just about anything a wife needs to do. I'm sure she wouldn't disappoint as your wife. And Smith is like, no, I mean, I'm sure she wouldn't, but... I see Talis just kind of like laying out in the field, enjoying the sunshine and the wind. I hear some... I don't know if she's the one singing, but you have us with Smith and the mother with, I'm not getting any younger myself, and when I'm gone, who will look out for her? And he's like, even so, I'm sure she has objections to this as well. And she's like, she can live here now, but she has no future. I want to see someone do right by her before I die. Please take her with you, I beg of you. You'll be saving both our lives. Because you have chapter 14, Talis' feelings. Yeah. Or so you see her singing as she's just like weaving some wheatgrass into like a little collar for one of the sheep. And as she's singing, she's like stringing together more of it. And you see the sheep playing with her headscarf. She's like, you mustn't. And then she kind of just like wraps it around the sheep instead. And the sheep just like starts running off. She's like, I'm sorry, I'll take it off now. He's like, come now. And you see the sheep just like running away. He's like, don't run away. He's like, stop right there, please wait. And she chases after, like, there, now I've got you. It's like, well, now there's no need for that. It's like, what, you want me to ride you? Jeff, oh, it's like, stand still, I'm losing my balance. You see the sheep like running off with her. And as she's astride, you see her running past this rock where Smith is just kind of hiding. And as she sees him, she gets like starts blushing, gets all embarrassed. She's like, she's like trying to hide her hair. It's like, And you see her scarf is floating off. It's like, wait, look where you're going. It's not safe. And she's like, stay away. Please don't follow me. Please stay away. Ooh. God damn. Just as she's running away, one of her feet falls into like a hole and she trips and falls. And he's like, are you all right? He's like, I'm fine. So please don't look. And he's like, As she's trying to reach out for her scarf, he kind of like grabs her, pulls her back. He's like, He's like, what? And he sees that there's a snake like standing right. Oh no, sorry. As she was reaching out for her scarf, she spots something, kind of like falls back in his arms. That's why he does that. He's like, what? And he sees that there's like a snake just like kind of looking menacingly a few feet behind past her scarf. And she's like, I'm not good with snakes. My fourth husband was bitten by a snake. And you see Smith kind of just pushing her off the side. She's like, don't, please don't, you can't. He's like, don't worry, I don't intend to get close. And he seems just throwing a bunch of rocks at her to try to scare it off. And you see the snake with the shas, like trying to dart forward and bite at him. It's like, excuse me. And you see him throwing a few more rocks, and it finally drives it off. He's like, that did it, it's going away, it's going. And you have an ow. As he's trying to pull away, and you see that one of her hairs got snagged on his bag. He's like, I'm sorry. As he's detangling it. And she's like, thank you very much. He's like, it's nothing. It was only natural under the circumstances. He's like, may I cut these strands of hair? And she's like, yes, do whatever you must. And she goes and like starts wrapping her headscarf again. She's like, forgive me for putting on such a shocking display. He's like, no, please forgive me. I must have scared you terribly. And she's like, did something happen, Mr. Smith, to send you out here? It's like, yes, well, something a bit troubling did occur, and I needed to think it over. And she's like, is there any way I can help? He's like, no, please don't worry yourself over it. It's something of a personal dilemma of mine. Well, to be perfectly honest, it isn't just my problem, but deciding how I should proceed is up to me. I'd like to stay out here a little longer, so if you're about to go back, please go ahead. And she's like, the nighttime can be dangerous. Please come back before the sun goes down. And he's like, I will. With like one final glance back at him, she goes back. He's like, now, what to do? He's like, please take her with you, I beg of you. He's like, now that it's come to this, I cannot stay. I'll have to gather my things without attracting notice. The proposition is entirely unreasonable. And if they mean to stop me leaving, the only thing to do is to cut ties and move on. He thinks back to Mother pleading with, she can live here now, but she has no future. And you see this bastard just like stealthily trying to like sneak up to make sure no one's spotting him as he goes and like starts tying up all his stuff. And Talis just interrupts behind him with, Mother tells me that my hand in marriage has been promised to you. He's like, no, perish the thought. There haven't been any promises. I suppose she may think a promise was made, but it isn't true. I certainly haven't the slightest intention. No, I don't mean that I have any qualms over your worth as a bride. It's a problem before that. You have many endearing charms as a woman, and if circumstances were different, then certainly I doubt anyone would object to you. And she just looks down and is like, is that so? Then I suppose Mother jumped to conclusions. I see. And she looks over where he's hastily trying to grab all his stuff. He's like, will you be leaving? He's like, yes, I don't think it can be helped now. And she's like, may I help? He's like, oh, thank you. He's like, Like, why do I feel disappointment? He's like, what did Mother say to you? And he goes, that I should take you with me, that you have no future if you stay here. It's like, oh dear, she said that? It's an exaggeration. The two of us can certainly make a living here. It's like, but she's terribly worried about you. It's like, I'm sure that Mother is worried I'll have a hard life when I'm left alone. I believe it would be very difficult at this point to marry into a new family. He's like, what would be difficult? It's like, both my birth father and father-in-law have passed away. He's like, oh, so that creates difficulties? It's like, yes. In any case, I do not wish to leave Mother all alone, so there isn't any choice. And he's silent as she goes, but I see Mother is that worried about me. And as he's packing some more, she's like, forgive me if I'm being intrusive, but it's like, yes. So what will you do in the future? He's like, and she goes, you mean once Mother passes away? It's like, yes, I suppose. Won't your fate be uncertain all alone? And Tallis is like, I can't deny it will be uncertain, but I wonder, is there anyone who isn't worried over the uncertain future? And Smith thinks back to, God, what the hell was their name? Sorry, give me a second. Amir and Carla, that was it. Sorry. It just slipped my brain for a second. I was just like, why can't I remember their names? He's like, no, I mustn't think of them that way. And he's like, and Tallis is like, I'm very happy that Mother's concerned about me, but I'm the one who should decide for me. And he's like, yes, absolutely, of course you should. You see later that evening with the mother going, Tallis? He's like, it's all right. I'll explain things to Mother afterward. And she goes, it's easy to lose your way on these roads at night. It's very dangerous. I think it would be better if you left closer to sunrise, before Mother awakens. He's like, I understand. Then that's what I'll do. You see her hiding outside, guiding the mother back inside. As Smith is watching, he goes, it seems that my fears were unfounded. He goes, thinking it over, they've been living on this land since the forgotten past. The land itself requires that much work for a person just to stay alive, and for generation after generation, the people of this land have done exactly that. And you see the next morning as she heads outside to help him make the great escape. And she goes, where will you go now? It's like, well, first back to town. I'm still waiting for my guide. Even if he isn't there yet, I'll accompany someone who seems trustworthy to Ankara. He's like, huh? He's like, what's the matter? He's like, my horse. He's like, horse? It's like, Mother couldn't have us to go to where the horses were clipped to the lead. And he's like, eh? He's like, I think she may have hidden it somewhere. He's like, you're joking. Then how will I? And she glances over at her horse and goes and unties his rope and goes, please ride Trubar on your journey. And he's like, no, I couldn't possibly. She gets quite all right. He has very strong legs. He doesn't mind long journeys. So that isn't the problem, your precious horse. She's like, but you need a horse now, don't you? And he's just silent. She's like, he likes oats. Please give him some from time to time. It's like, hurry your gear before Mother awakens. And she saddles up the horse for him and goes, well, that about does it. Sorry, Smith goes, well, that about does it. I want to thank you for your hospitality. God. And you see her just clasping his cheeks as she plants a kiss and goes, farewell, take care. This man is stronger than I. And you see him as he's heading off on the horse and he looks back, she waves to him. And you can see just the figure slowly receding. And yeah, it's true, I saw it with my own eyes. That European out that way was snooping into all kinds of things. We both know what that's about, right? It's like, he's the spy they're talking about, I'm certain. If you let him get away, he's sure to bring back his troops in numbers like a pack of hungry wolves. And you see that's the old grouchy bald guy that wanted Tallis as the second wife. And you see Smith just riding behind him. It's like, him! That's him right there! And they're like, him? It's like, yes, that man there. That horse he's riding belongs to that family. He must have stolen it. What are you waiting for? Look, he's getting away. I don't care what else you do. Just go and catch him with him out of the way. It's like, yes, all right. You see a bunch of the guards riding up and like blocking Smith in. He's like, hey, hold it, stop. And he's like, can I help you? It's like, nice horse you have there. It's like, oh, thank you. It's like, right, enough, come along. As they pull out their muskets and swords, he's like, eh? It's like, eh? It's like, eh? It's like, wait, And you see as they're herding him along back to the barracks, I assume. And you see them just going through. Poor bastard just can't catch a break as they're going through all this stuff. As you have bonus chapter, Paria is at that age. Paria is at that age, but she hasn't found a match yet. It's like, it's not that my standards are too high, but I certainly don't want to rush into anything. Well, it's true that a match hasn't been found for me yet, but for one thing, it isn't that easy to find a match. It's an important choice. And you see Amir being like, Paria? Yeah, it's just a bunch of like small stuff. I'm going to skip all that. I'll read that on my own later. You have chapter 15, you have written in English, don't you think? It's like, so he's an Englishman? And you have national registration for Henry Smith. It's like, they're pests too. It's like, what's written there? It's like, Henry Smith, a linguist doing field work. It's like, is that real? It looks suspicious to me. It's like, hey, look at this. I'll bet there's some secret intelligence written here as they pull out a little notebook. It's like, where is he now? It's like, right now, in back for questioning. But they can't seem to get a confession out of him. So you have chapter 15, reunion. Yeah, I told you I'm only doing research for personal and academic reasons. I'm not secretly gathering information for anyone. And they're like, why do you research? You do research with no purpose or goal? Nobody in the world does that. So you can say nobody, but it's the truth. It's like, what are you after? Where are you going? Who else does this with you? It's like I said. It's like needlecraft, cooking, nothing important is written here. It's like, could it be in code? It's like, if it's a code, I can't make sense of it. It's like, well, it's like, no good. No matter what we ask, he doesn't budge. Anyway, let's put him in a cell. It's like, I see. So what'll we do? Do we hand him over to the Russians? Those border guards are making their rounds and pestering everybody. We're not in Russia. I don't care how much power they think they have. We have no obligation to turn him over to them. It's like, true, we don't have to. We're the ones who caught him. It's like, I don't like their attitude. He goes, do a thorough investigation of this man and inform the commander. Like, who needs to investigate anything? Who else but a spy would go around writing down every little detail? So let's take care of him and be done with it. If just wait, we can't act hastily here and hand England a pretext to retaliate. We'd catch hell. We must proceed with caution and don't let Russia catch wind of this. It's like, look, there's no need to worry. If he is a spy, then his country will pretend like he doesn't exist. And if so, we can end him right here. He's like, I'm saying you got it wrong. Please believe me. I have no enmity for anyone, and I'm certainly no spy. At any rate, could you contact my consulate or even the embassy? Whatever you will. Once you do this, it'll all be cleared up. Poor Smith in his jail was like trying to plead to his guard who's just dead silent. It's like, I beg of you, this is all a mistake. He's like, damn, I had my identification and travel papers all in order, so I thought there'd be no problem. What would I do if they confiscated everything? At the very least, I'd like my notebook back. It's like, no, I've been arrested. I have more serious worries. It's like, I'm begging, please contact the consulate. And you see later as they're as they're interrogating him, you skirted the mountains detouring around them? It's like, yes. Tell me every town you came close to. It's like, let's see, Tubaya, Adaka, Balkakand. It's like, excuse me, if you need a guarantor, there's a friend in Ankara I could ask. And the guard's like, only speak when you've been asked a question. We're the ones who will decide everything else. And he's like, this doesn't look good. Started to think I might get out, but they may just execute me. He's like, no. I can't keep thinking in terms of worst case scenarios. I just have to come up with a way to get out of here. It's like, a way to get out of here. As he's looking cross-legged as night passes by. And he's just thinking back to when Tal's just like caressing his cheek. And you see that he's been in there long enough, he's growing a little bit of stubble. And the guards open the door with hey, get out. Like, wait just a moment, let's just have a talk before you do anything rash. He's like, get out, that guarantor of yours is here. You have to release him. You see this guy standing there, goes, hey, Mr. Smith, looks like you've had a rough time. Good to see you well. Good to see you. Well, your head's still attached anyway. Good for you. He's like, who might you be? So you asked for me, right? I'm your guide to Ankara. He's like, then you're the guide? It's like, so they finally confirmed my identification papers? It's like, ID papers? Those won't do you any good. I just got a dignitary to write up a letter of assurance. Yeah, Mr. Smith is a very important person and will be a guest of the Kazan household. I request and require that his needs be met and the protections provided for him on his journey. And I guarantee his conduct in the Kazan name. And you see outside, like, Karluk just standing there, like, arguing with the guards. He goes, Mr. Smith! It's like, Karluk! It's like, it's you, Mr. Smith. Thank goodness you're all right. You are, aren't you? It's like, did something happen coming all the way out here? It's like, what do you mean did something happen? We heard someone matching your description was imprisoned here. It's like, eh? How did you find out? We're so far away from where you live, aren't we? It's like, well, we generally hear of everything within a 4-day journey. It's like, huh? Is that how it works? See the guards watching Amir Purya nearby, being like, who's this? It's like, traveling companions. And Purya's like, traveling companions. And Karluk says, nothing suspicious about this man. He's been our family's personal guest for a very long time. As a representative of the Ahon family and his patriarch Akunbek, I guarantee his conduct. Here is our letter of assurance. And we're just like, oh, thank God. The guard's like, yes, fine. You, give him back his belongings and get his horse from out back. And the guy is like, I guess it wouldn't take me long to find a European here, and I was right. These guys holding you here made it easy for me. It's like, don't say that so casually. I was this close to being killed. And Carl looks like, nice to meet you. I'm a friend of Mr. Smith. I'm a friend of Mr. Smith's, Akunbek's son, Karluk. He's like, wow, what a polite introduction. And he goes, I'm the grandson of Arzakir, son of Ismail Ali. I come from Tabriz. He's like, is this your wife and her friend? And Smith outside is like shaving, like washing his face, like, I feel so much better. Karluk's like, huh? You shaved your beard? What a waste. It's like, I couldn't get used to it. It's Ali. The guy's name is Ali. So he's like, hey boss, you came all the way here in those clothes? He's like, eh? It's like, I'm surprised you're still in one piece. That'd draw eyes. He's like, is this no good? It's like, haven't you ever heard of caution? You need some different clothes. It's like, wait, you already have some. It's like, put this on. Tighten up the belt. Can't you wear it with a little more style? And you see him just looking all frumpy. And he's like, won't this be even more suspicious? It's like, no, it's slightly better, I think. Carl looks like, but he doesn't look like a local. It's like, I think it's the hair and face that could cause trouble. We could shave his head. And Smith's like, what? It's like, for his face, let's lose those. It's like, no help at all. The eye color's a dead giveaway. It's like, try to pass him off as a Russian? It's like, wait just a moment. The disguise would be blown the moment we met a real one. Then I'd be dead for sure. Excuse me. It's like, can't we come up with some other way? It's like, yeah, I guess. It's like, boss, you have any medicine with you? It's like, medicine, you say? Yes, I believe I have a bit. It's like, good. You, boss, will be a doctor. It's like, a doctor? It's like, people everywhere welcome European doctors. It's so much better than a bad disguise. Probably. It's like, probably? It's like, wait, no, a doctor? I could do simple bandaging and such, but I have no real medical knowledge. They'll see right through me. It's like, just a moment. I do have the medical information that the doctor was willing to tell me. It's like, no problem, no problem. As long as they get better, you're golden. Even if they die, you can say, I did everything possible, but I'm sorry to say. And the guard's like, hey. It's like, yes? It's like, what is it? It's like, this letter guarantees your needs. I figure I'll just ask. Is there anything you need? And Ali's like, why, yes. Let's see. 2 camels with feed and gear, water, bread, and tea, enough for 2, a felt mat, and a bit of traveling money. Also, 2 rifles and ammunition. And while we're at it, could you write a letter to your counterparts along our way for safe passage? And Smith's like, just a moment. It's like, are you sure this is all right, asking for so much? It's like, just fine. You see them look at all their stuff. He's like, I knew it. You want horses and camels? The military's the best. So we've gathered everything you asked for. Do you need anything else? He's like, yeah, that hat. It's like, this one? It's like, I don't object. Take it. It's like, but do not forget, I'm the one who released him and provided you with what you needed. It's like, I won't forget, Captain. I'll make sure the family patriarch hears all about all the favors you did for him. And such favors they were. It's like, good. Make sure he knows. It's like, he's good, I guess. As he's leaving, Ali tosses him the hat. It's like, okay, boss, put this on. It's like, this? It's like, on your head to hide all that. It's like, ah, that makes sense. He's like, yeah. It's like, boss, is that your horse? That's one fine animal. It's like, yes, in a way. The story is complicated. It's like, the horse we got you, did you sell it? It's like, no, that isn't exactly what happened. And you see, as though you hear some noise as someone comes galloping into the village. What the hell, bro? You see Tyler just hurriedly rushing into the town, like rushing through. Like, excuse me, is Mr. Smith in the area? Mr. Smith is a European. Could you tell me what happened to him? God, she must have heard about the arrest story. He's like, Tallis! And she's like looking all confused. Like, it's me, see? He takes off the hat. He's like, Mr. Smith? Then you're all right? Thank goodness. And Ollie's like, what's up? A friend of yours? He's like, ah, yes. This is a member of the family who put me up when I arrived. This is my good friend. His wife and my guide is introducing Karlik and the others. He's like, your guide? Then you've met the one you were looking for? It's like, yes, I managed somehow. It's like, is that so? But truly, thank goodness. Something had happened to you. I don't know what I would have done. And Ali's like, see? Not a bad thing. Not a thing happened. Well, nothing worse than a stay at the local hotel with iron bars. And Smith's like, must you? It's like, iron bars? Karlik's like, that's why we came. We heard Mr. Smith had been arrested. He's like, arrested? You were arrested? They didn't do anything awful to you, did they? He's like, no, it's all right. Nothing terrible happened to me. He's like, it was my uncle. After what he said, it was just a short time ago. My uncle came by again. God, what an asshole. And you see as he goes back inside, he's like, well, what have we here? I don't see any European. And the mother's like, he's out at the moment, but he'll be back in no time. It's like, you can bet he'll be back soon. It's like, really? I wonder about that. So, about our arrangement. It's like, you never give up, do you? I've already refused you. Tallis is already... It's like, to that European, right? Wait all you want. He isn't coming back. He's never coming back here again. They're like, and how would you know that? It's like, well, talk. It better be the truth. What have you done? And Tallis just goes and takes his horse, comes galloping off. This guy wasn't thinking. In an instant, I fled and came here. And Ollie's like, does he have a grudge against you? It's like, well, I didn't do anything. The situation simply turned out that way. It's like, situation? It's like, I don't quite know how to explain it. It's like, it's over me. Oh, so Solace goes, it's over me. My uncle has been pestering us for a long time to make me his son's second wife. So my mother asked Mr. Smith to take me as his wife. And my uncle must have felt Mr. Smith was in the way. And Ollie's like, that's awful. I can hardly believe it. And Party's like, what the hell is that? He should be the one being hated. He falsely accused you over something like that? Is he out of his mind? Ollie's like, oh, the girl speaks the truth. It's like, that's it exactly. It's like, yes, I suppose. Karlik's like, wait, just now? It's like, Mr. Smith, you're getting married? He's like, huh? It's like, well, I don't. And Tallis is like, no, he isn't. Just as my husband passed away and I became available, this nice young man happened upon us. My mother decided the entire thing without consulting anyone. He came to us as a guest, but as his host we caused him nothing but trouble. What we did to Mr. Smith. God. And you see Amir notices something as she goes up to her, whispers something, and they go off to have like a little conference. And Carl looks like, Amir? And she kind of just gives him like the sad look, and he's like, eh? She comes back and whispers something to him. And she's like all blushing. It's like, as I thought, it seems she's in love with Mr. Smith. And he's like, is that so? And Faria just starts blushing as well. And Karlik and Amir exchange a glance as he's like, also, that she would like being married to you, Mr. Smith. She feels, Amir tells me that's how she feels. Is it, oh, so that's how to put it. It's like, please forgive me. For me to say that, you must be shocked. It's like, no, that isn't it, but... Ollie's like, she's fallen for you, right? Then what's the problem? Take her for your wife. It's like, don't say that like it's nothing. I'm thinking about it too. But even if I feel that way, I couldn't do it so quickly. To begin with, how would I explain this to my family? And Carl looks like, It's like, you've already given it that much thought? He's like, no, just as a theoretical idea. He's like, hold everything for a second. We're attracting attention here. Let's move this somewhere else. And you see him go into a little tea house with, hey, welcome, so many customers. He's like, Gramps, can we get a room in back where other people can't come in? And Tallis like, it just reminded me of the way it used to be, having a man around. I invited Mr. Smith for mother's sake, but Just having a man staying there made our chores seem easier and us feel safer. Without thinking too deeply about it, I just felt it would be nice if he could stay forever. And when I started to think like that, it became harder and harder to stop myself. It's like when Mother brought up the subject, my heart skipped a beat. It's like Mr. Smith seems like a nice person, doesn't he? He's polite and civil, and he tells me that he's single. It's like, but he's a traveling man. Wouldn't he be troublesome if we thought of him in that way? It's like it was like she could see through me. It's like, and such a match would make problems for him. It's like, I don't know about that. Before she said that, I never thought she'd seriously consider it, so I thought I had to put a stop to it. I had to put a stop to it, is what I thought, but... Is he probably just blushing even more as this? It's like, so you've had 5 husbands die, right? If your mother-in-law passes away, you'll only have your birth family's relatives to rely on, right? And Ollie's like, don't you feel for her? It's like, go marry her. It's like, now hold it. Marrying a person out of pity is something I cannot do. It's like, what's wrong with marrying out of pity? It's not like she has someone to marry right now. Saving her is what a man does, right? It's like, maybe it is, but I just can't bring myself to... It's like, I just can't bring myself to do something like that. It's like, you're in a lot of trouble, aren't you? And he's like, turns to Carlux, like, how about you? What's your opinion as a married man? It's like, It's like, you mean me? Let's see. It's like, I think one way or another it's Mr. Smith's decision. If Mr. Smith can't commit himself to it, then it would be a bad idea anyway. It's like, oh, yeah, well said. It's like, okay, boss, you're the one making the decision. We can't start our journey the way things stand. And Smith just looks at her and goes, whatever else I do, I will return to you. I promise. Please know my intentions are serious, and I will return with that in mind. Can you accept that? And she's like, yes. And you see all of them just blushing, blushing even more furiously. It's like, let's see. Yes, I want to give you... He's like, this. And he gives her a little pocket watch. It's like, is that a watch? It's like, oh, now that's impressive. Is it gold? So you could buy 5 gray Arabian horses with just one of those. And she's like, no, I couldn't accept something that expensive. It's like, but you see, in my country at a time like this, we have a tradition of leaving something behind as a symbol of the promise. Spoken promises are simply not enough. It's like, you mean a betrothal gift? It's like, well, something to that effect. And Ollie's like, a betrothal gift, huh? True, in this case, there's no father to receive it, so giving it to her directly is fine, and it's valuable enough. And she's like, thank you, I will treasure it. And you see Party just gotten beat red, she just collapses from all the intense emotions. And you have, so the horse actually belonged to her. I thought it was too good a horse for a traveler. He's like, yes, well, so then I'll go back and explain the situation. And Ollie's like, sure, I'll wait here. So since we've come all this way, we'll wait for you to return too. And he's like, oh, will you? And Ollie's like, well, good thing this got worked through. Carlux, I see. Mr. Smith is getting... And you hear some people nearby go, you mean with Russia? Are you sure? It's like, what's up? It's like, we just heard it ourselves. A clan from somewhere had to run in with the Russians and things didn't go well. It's like, with Russia? Where? It's like, over in the mountains, I hear. And Carlux like, the mountains? Isn't that where your clan is, Amir? It's like, did you hear the name of the clan involved? It's like, nobody seems to know that just yet. It's like, would it be the Pachi clan? The area is about right. They say that ever since ancient times, they'd rather fight to the death than take orders. Yeah, I think the Kargan clan is more likely to do that. Excuse me. Yeah, don't the Kargan collaborate with Russia? It's like, I heard the clan had their grazing ranges taken and are really angry about it. It's like, wouldn't it be the Serbit or Parmish instead? It's like, the story I heard was, come to think of it, I haven't seen anybody in the Tusk clan recently. It's like, it's probably the Holgal clan. Ever since they changed leadership, they've been itching for a fight. Ollie's like, what's that? You've got relatives? Your wife's family? Well, that's a worry for sure. If I hear anything, I'll be sure to pass it along. He's like, we'd appreciate it. He's yes, Tallis and Smith are riding back. He's like, but when we met at the market, the first thing I thought was, what a fine woman you are. She's just like embarrassed, like pulling her covering clothes. Like, it's true. So you have chapter 16. You have, when do you think Mr. Smith will return? It's a good question. I doubt he could just explain and leave, so probably tomorrow or the day after. And you see a bunch of chickens nearby as like some people are like skewering some kebabs and roasting them. So yeah, eating at the market. Yeah, if I'm feeling a little hungry, it's like, yeah, now that you mention it, I've only had tea today. How about we eat something? It's like, I agree. It's like, if we were one town over, a person I know would serve up some great food, but Want to see if any of the other nearby houses will have us? It's mealtime, right? Carl looks like, huh. Well, this area has some good-looking food. How about we all eat here? It's like, I guess I could do that. And Party's like, but buy our food? It's like, oh yeah, we've got women folk with us. It's like, Yeah, yes. Well, it's like, Gramps, we're going to borrow your back room again. If anybody wants to come back, they're welcome. As he just drops them a coin. And you see them just setting up a bunch of mats as they have. We can just bring it back here to eat, right? It's like, right. It's like, now what'll we have? Kebabs, meat, and noodle soup? It's like, oh, fried rice. It's like, hey, mister, how much? It's like, oh, bad luck. Just sold the last of it. And he's like, you must be kidding. So, but I can whip up a new batch. It's like, well, if I got it, I guess I'll wait. And Carl looks like, then we'll go off and find something else to buy. It's like, right, good hunting. You see them going out to like the various stalls of the breaking bread, different kinds of dishes and soups and stews. And Party's like, there's so many different shops. And Amir's like, Parya, didn't you say you often go to the market? He's like, yeah, but only men come to this part of it. It's like, Amir, you've eaten in a place like this before? It's like, no, never. And Carl looks like, so what do we have? It's like, what do you two want to eat? And you see there's a fruit stall nearby with some pomegranates. And she's like, just like goes over. Girl after my own heart. So, well, we had these on the way. It's like, we can have them on the return journey too. He's like, you fry up the carrots first? So the onions come first, right? Carrots should come after. The guy making the fried rice is like, who cares what comes first? They all get cooked through in the end. It's like, right? I care. It's like, frying up the onions first makes it taste better. Yeah, but I wonder what's up. I see kids that looks very much like a murk or a jalebi or something else. But you have like these round... sorry, I'm trying to figure out where it is. On this one here, you have these like round little pastry things that they're frying up in oil. Which you have the kids going for. He's like, Party, you want to have that? He's like, no, not at all. Who'd want to eat kid food? Besides, I'm no boy child, so it'd be improper for me. Everyone says such things are bad for you. And Amir just goes and grabs to and brings it back. It's like, here. It's like, ooh. It's like, we're supposed to buy something for the meal, but nothing we're buying is meal-like. It's like, you're already eating. It's like, in any case, let's buy some kebabs. And he goes up to a meat skewer and is like, hello, are any of them ready? It's like, they're ready and they're good. And Amir's like, the pheasant looks delicious. Like, pheasant? I suppose we could buy it, but we've no place to cook it. So we can have it cooked here. So do you have water? So there's a well out back. So I'll go pluck and dress them. And she goes and grabs them. Goes up behind, quickly butchers and brings them back with a, cook these, please. He's like, guess I have to. So we don't want to put you out. We'll buy those kebabs too. He's like, thank you. So you put the meat right in the middle of onions and carrots and fry it. Add some water and then it becomes the soup. It's like, hey, rice now. And Ollie's like, the rice already? Don't you add snow melon? It's like, snow melon? What region's recipe is that? It's like, you don't add them? It's like, of course not. I might put in apricots or raisins, though. Beans or maybe tomatoes. It's like, oh, man, I like it with snow melon. He goes, once the rice is added, you bring it to a boil and stir a bit, then cover it and let it simmer. It's like, right. It's like, by the way, how you been lately? It's like, well, recently my back's been killing me. It's like, I guess you're not getting any younger. Hey, what's that supposed to mean? He's like, shouldn't you put a compress on that? So the butcher on the corner has them. It's like, oh, I think it's about done. God, like, oh, this batch came out looking good, didn't it? It's like, ow, I want to. He's like taking all the plates off. It's like, hurry up. It's like, come on, everybody wait his turn. Now line up. It's like, more, fill the plate up full. And add in that big piece of meat there. It's like, you're a really picky customer. It's like, hey, wait, what about my money? It's like, if you go straight that way, there's a guardhouse. Go stick it on the captain's bill. And you see, he's back. It's like, thank goodness, we've been waiting. I was worried it would get cold. It's like, sorry about that. It's like, oh, you found some good-looking food. It's like, yes, like these are baked dumplings and fish-stuffed meat pies, 5 flavored meat and noodles. Over here, sausage and kebabs. Oh, and pomegranates. It's like, well, this is hot off the fire. It's like, whoa. It's like, so before it cools, let's eat up. See, they're eating all the food. God, it's making me so hungry now. And Ollie's like, it's good. It's like, what's the meat? It's really good. And he's like, it's pheasant. It's like, pheasant? They sell pheasant kebabs here? He's like, they sell pheasants. And you see Party opening up the dumplings. Like, these are like the fried meat dumplings we make. It's like, isn't the same thing just baked instead of fried? So the crust is crunchy and delicious. It's like the bread we bake in our ovens. It's I think we might be able to make this too. It's got these noodles past muster. It's like, there's peanuts in it. It's like, this is really juicy. It's like, here's the hand towel. It's like, thanks. And you see, what's this? You're eating something? It's like, join us if you like. Everybody's welcome to have some. Yeah, what is it? It's like, come on, they're inviting everybody to eat. It's like, we may not have enough. I'll go get seconds. It's like, what is it, a party? I gathered some walnuts for out back. Want some? It's like, I bought some rice dumplings. I bought steamed pot stickers. So we need more meat here. Meat! You see, what is this, a party? I've bought food also too. Have as much as you like. Yeah, huh? It's like, mister, you boast every day of your generosity and you just bring a few snow melons? It's like, exactly, absolutely. You disappoint me, sir. Can't you bring anything better? It's like, cheap. Like meat or something? It's like, they're right. What a cheapskate. And he brings in a whole sheep so they can roast it. It's like, let's roast that thing up. It's like, no, let's boil it. No, let's cut it in half and do both. It's like, that's our master for you. What a man, a big spender. I was like, isn't that a tea house? When did it start selling food? And you see that young lady over there. Is she your wife's sister? And you see people checking out Paria, and he's like, looks like, no. It's like, your wife's friend? A neighbor? Married? No? Well, well. What name does her father go by, and what does he do? Do you have an oh-ho? Come to think of it, my son is presently looking for a wife. It'd be nice to have a pretty young lady like this come as a bride. Do you have a what? You want to go traveling with that young Ahon couple? That's Parka's father. It's like, yes, I think you should go. You should go someplace new and meet many people. You might find a very forgiving family that takes a liking to you in another town. And she's hearing all the conversations, getting like beet red. It's like, what do you think, boy? A nice young lady, And you see that the son is sitting right next to her. And she's like, put them together, and she starts to blush. What a nice, quiet girl. It's like, now, don't make fun of the young couple. It's like, you know me, I don't make jokes about that. And you see him just kind of like smiling a little at Paria. As you have Smith back with Smith and Tallis with, India, is that so? It's like, yes, do you know where it is? It's like, to the south, a very hot country, yes? It's like, well, it covers a very large area, so I wouldn't say that it's all hot, but I have a small house there. I know the area and customs well, so we could go there sometime, but only if you're not opposed to leaving here. And she's silent before she goes, they say that with a new place comes new happiness. So that makes sense. I'm sure this will put Mother at ease. So you have chapter 17. You have, there's no telling what lies ahead, they say, and I think they're quite right. In a town that was nothing but a waypoint, my horse and bag were stolen. I certainly never expected everything would be returned, nor did I ever imagine the fellow victim who invited me to her house would become someone I would promise to spend my future with. And now, something else. Ooh, what the hell, bro? Plot twist! You see, as they're going back, the mother's looking all crying. You see Tal's looking as the guy shouting at them something. And he goes, and now something else is happening to throw that plan into chaos. So you have chapter 17, heading to Ankara. And as she comes back, the mother's like, Tallis, I was so worried. You ran off so suddenly. He's like, Mother. He's like, hello. It's like, Mr. Smith, you're all right. He's like, please forgive me, Mr. Smith. I hid your horse from you. I thought you were the only one who could save Tallis. I'm so very sorry. He's like, no, it's all past and forgotten. I even have my horse back. It's like, also, Mother, but everything is all right now. I'm going to be the one to marry that man. Oh, what the fuck, bro? It's like, isn't that right? And you see the uncle heading out, looking all grumpy. He's like, Uncle? He's like, I'm a forgiving man. I dislike dwelling on past offenses, so I'll forgive everything you've done. It must be hard looking after the sheep, so I'll combine them with my flock and look after them all for you. He's like, what? She's the wife of my older brother. There's nothing unusual with our getting married. So would you promise, Tallis? He's like, yes, I know. A promise is a promise. As your father, I'll find a suitable husband for you. I'll prepare betrothal gifts and provide a wedding that'll bring no shame on anyone. That satisfies you, right? You've got no complaints about that, right? My mother's like, you see, Tallis, we'll find a nice man that you're certain to like, and we'll send you off as a bride somewhere. There's nothing to worry about anymore. And the mother's like, what's wrong? And he looks back at Smith and he's like, huh? It's like, Mother, Mr. Smith and I... It's like, actually, it's true. And to make sure you heard it first, we came directly back. And he's like, but that means... He's like, hey, what secrets are you whispering? Ah, what an asshole. And you see the uncle grabbing her by the arm going, come on, don't you dare get within arm's reach of him. And he's like, oh, what? Just wait, it's like, get inside and don't come out. Oh, what a turd. And you see him tossing inside the house. He slams the door. He's like, she's my daughter now, so don't you dare try anything. Get out, go home. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have had all these problems, you plague. And you see, wait just a moment, I don't understand what happened. Please, just calm down and listen to... It's like, we have nothing to talk about. But if you won't leave... He goes inside and grabs a gun. Like, just try and come one step closer. I'll send you far, far away. Yeah, what's with you? As Tallis is like pushing him away. He's like, Tallis! The mother comes outside. It's like, Mr. Smith, I heard everything from Tallis and I'm really so sorry. I'm so sorry. He's like, excuse me, what exactly happened? God damn it, bro, you can't do this to me. And she hands it back the pocket watch and goes, you must have it back and accept my thanks for everything you've done for my daughter. I'll explain everything to Tallis, but please, I beg you to forget her. Please forget her for her sake. I beg of you. And you see Smith is walking back, like just looking down at his watch. It's like, I don't understand anything that happened or how the situation changed so quickly. And as he heads back, Harlock's like, Mr. Smith? You're back already? That was quick. It's like, really? Yeah, what happened? Yeah, well, no helping that. Just a bad set of circumstances. So it's like, perhaps, but it was just, I suddenly can't see her and I'm told to forget her? Isn't that simply too much? So, but he's her father, right? He's her father now. You can't win against her father. And Carla's like, how to say it? In other words, her mother said she'd marry that uncle, right? It's like, yes. It's like, that uncle is a bad man. They're his family, but he didn't do anything before this to look after them. Still, once they're married, that uncle becomes her father. The father determines who his daughter's matched with. It's his, duty. Yes, it's his duty. And it's wrong for one to decide one's own marriage when there's a father. It's like, right, about that. If the father likes you, then you've got a chance. But he's got a grudge against you, right? And he's like, however, she consented to be my bride and an arrangement came before all that. How can I simply accept it when someone suddenly becomes a father and says there's no promises? And Ollie's like, don't talk like that. A father is a father. She can't go against her father. He's right. She couldn't do something that awful. She is a woman after all. He's like, is that so? And Paria's like, so, in other words, you've been rejected? And Amir's like, Paria! It's like, I'm sorry. It's like, it's all right. It's like, still, there's nothing anybody can do. And as Karluk and Hamir and Paria are taking off, like, when you come back this way, please visit us. Don't forget. Be sure to come back and see us. This guy won't forget. It's a promise. And Ollie's like, all right, Ankara. Let's head to Ankara. It's like, right. So you heading off with the little camels and the thing. And you see as he's riding along, it's like, everything okay? And Smith's like, oh, they'll be fine. They're strong people. It's like, no, you, boss. It's like, yes, I'm fine, probably. Yeah, as he's like trying to look at Gurf. It's like, hey, what's wrong? It's like, nothing. It's just the camel sways more than I expected. I feel a little... It's like, you didn't catch something, did you? It's like, it's not that kind of illness exactly. It's like, seasick? What's that supposed to mean? Hey, pull yourself together. You see Smith just throwing up. And you see them making camp for the night. He's like, I'm fine now. I feel much better. It's like, never mind. Just stay there. The sun's almost set anyway. We'll set up camp here. It's like, is that so? And as he's taking all the load off the camels, he's like, your name is Ali. He's like, yes, Ali. So you're a friend of Hoskins, Ali? It's like, nope. It's just hired for the job. To guide one Englishman back. Nobody seemed to want the job. You'd be a hunted man and nobody wanted to share in your fate. So why'd you take it? It's like, the money. The pay is good. It's like, the money. Do you have something you need the money for? It's like, I want to take a wife. It's the betrothal money. I need betrothal gift money to get me a wife. It's like, my family's poor and I'm the second son. Everybody in the family pitched in and somehow I managed to get my older brother his wife. But I'm going to have to get my own bride myself. It's like, does it take a lot of money to do that? It's like, if you have horses and sheep, you're fine. But my family's got none of that. I've done guard duty for caravans for 3 years. But if there's nothing to guard against, the pay is pretty bad. I had to pay for my own water and food. If I'd stayed, I'd never have been able to get married. It's like, so do you have someone particular in mind? It's like, no. What's the use in deciding when you're broke? It's like, is that how it works? It's like, still, I'm no slouch when it comes to work, and I'm not too picky about what I like. I'm sure I'll find somebody once I start looking. It's like, so you just relax. I'll get you to Ankara in one piece, boss. Okay? It's like, yes, if you please. And you see, come to think of it, how do we get from here to there? It's like, what do you mean, how? What path we take, how many days? Like, let me think. There are 3 ways we could go. The first is to go straight from the Aral Sea to the Caspian Sea. When we get to the Caspian, we take a boat to the opposite shore. Then we take the Trabzon road, skirt the Black Sea, and arrive at Ankara. It's the fastest route, but there are a lot of Russians patrolling the shores. And how do we avoid the few who will try to con you out of ship fare or steal your luggage? We could also go south of the Caspian and take the roundabout route through Persia. It's taking the long way around to avoid the other route's troubles. It'll be a long slog, but if we can catch up to a caravan, we won't even have to worry about highwaymen. And he's silent as Smith is like, the third route? So I can't really recommend the third route. It means going through my home country. It's a shorter route, safe, and there are people there I know, and there aren't any Russians around. It's like, it sounds perfect to me. It's like, it's 80% mountain paths. I'm fine on them, but if somebody fell from a cliff, nothing could save them. I won't fall, but there are times when people new to the mountains just faint to the ground. And Smith is like, perhaps we shouldn't take that route. It's like, right? It's like, what do you think? It's like, well, let's see. Realize it'll take more time, but I think the safest route is best. So then we detour through Persia. Good, it's decided. Anyway, tomorrow we set sail on the Aral Sea. You better get your rest, boss. And his Yelly just turning over, instantly starting to snore. And say, that was fast. And you see he's just like taking out his watch. He's looking all thoughtful. What the hell, bro? He goes and just takes it and like tosses it off into the desert. He goes, did it ever hit the sand? It didn't make a sound. And he goes back and gets into his blanket and goes, I imagine someone will find it and take it. That was an intense ass volume. Oh my god, I did not expect romance drama with Mr. Smith, but man, I really, because I feel like there was like some follow-up in a later volume with that stuff, so I'm hoping he gets a happy ending, but yeah, that was some intense stuff. So apart from that, apart from the Mr. Smith drama, I do like that we're getting like the little bit of interjection with the politics, with like how, you know, there's the conflict with the Russians kind of like coming into these areas and like having clashes with like the tribes and everything. So I love that we're getting like the little bit of like real world like politics and drama inserted into that. But I think my favorite part of this volume by far is how well, like how Kaoru Mori goes out of the way to showcase how communal the community, how communal the experience is, like how close knit communities are in the Middle East, where you have like, you know, people just being like, you know, we're gonna go buy food, we'll invite whoever to the feast, and they'll bring their own food to share. Like everyone will just like take a bit of everything and just sit around talking, you know, drinking, eating, all that kind of stuff. So I really like that aspect of the community. It's kind of emphasized like, you know, how like brides like marriages and get matched, things like that, how you make connections. So really, really like that that aspect was kind of emphasized as like a focus put on that. Apart from that, really did take the romance in this. I love how Party was just like adorably blushing because you can't take all the romance. She's just like overheated from all of that, because I felt that. That was really, really adorable. It's nice to get more Amir and Carl look again. I did not think we were going to see him again this early, but it was nice to see them back again. Kind of see the different little interactions and stuff going on with that. Solid volume. Looking forward to the next one. Hopefully there won't be as much heartbreak for Smith going forward. But yeah, a lot of fun. So if you enjoyed this video, you know, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, come on, why is this doing it to me? Until next time, this is Ash. I'll talk to you all later.